Hey guys, what's up? Time for another game theory, psychology, social study video. Remember, if you like the videos, like, subscribe, comment, share, support the channel if you want. There's also a super thanks thingy jiggy if you want to do that, I guess. Today, I'm going to combine a few topics. I'm going to combine, the idea of false prophets, false tech lords. It's almost comical, right? The idea that you don't want to be the smartest person in the room. Talent hits the target that no one else could hit, but genius hits the target that no one else could see. And people often ask, why don't you play characters like Beerus, these like ball setup characters, Venom, whatever, right? A lot going in on here, but we're going to talk about it because I had seen, and I'm bringing this up because a few days ago, or maybe it was a week ago, when was it? There was that Tanuki idiot motherfucker, and I saw a guy recently posted, or I guess he's been posting some Reddit posts about me, and he posted the EX thing, which I thought was funny. So thanks to him, thank you. So I often talk about why don't I play characters like Beerus and Venom, these kind of ball characters, because people are like, oh, these characters have so many cool combos. You should be able to set so much stuff up with them, right? And I always talk about when a character is supposed to have cool combos, it's very hard to do something legitimately cool with them because they're supposed to be able to do it. You're like, oh, well, what if you knocked a guy into a ball? Whatever, blah, 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 blah. Well, no fucking shit. You're supposed to be able to do that. When you are truly creative, you create something out of nothing, right? Talent hits the target that no one else could hit. But genius will hit the target that no one else could see, the target that no one else would knew was there. And that's why I'm always so proud of videos like when I think of those videos like Marvel and all that kind of stuff, because I did, look at those Ryu videos, the Ryu videos and the Akuma videos, characters that were not supposed to have any cool combos. And I did like the best videos in the game. No one thought that stuff was possible. People still post those videos to this day. People post that those videos are fake. Those characters were not supposed to have stuff like that. That's why I'm so proud of all those Kai videos. Characters that are not supposed to have cool shit. Dragon Ball Fighters, these characters were not supposed to be able to do this shit. That's why I'm so proud of the stuff that I've done for those games, right? And I think the Beerus example and stuff like this it's such an easy example too now, because apparently that Tanuki motherfucker, again, I guess he's not a furry, but now he thinks he's a Tanuki, but he's whatever. The guy has been caught splicing his videos, or he doesn't like the term splicing. He pre-records them and then records them together, right? But people think this guy is some great tech lord, right? And if you noticed, now this guy is trying to move on to other characters. And you can look it up. I don't want to fucking shill the guy. Fucking Christ, I'm not going to shill a guy that's a fucking known cheater and a fucking fraud and a fucking liar. But if you've seen it, you've seen this guy is trying to do stuff for cooler. And he's like, oh, whatever his quote was, is like, I knew this could be possible and I was right. Caps lock, exclamation points. Like he found something and he's doing something simple, something years old. Then he was posting Roshi combo videos recently, and they're not good. People were doing that day one. I blew that out day one. Are you kidding me? And people think, and he thinks he's amazing. I actually saw that, and I'm like, wow, this is such proof that people that think that you are good for doing a Venom combo video or a character like Beerus, these guys are not actually creative, dude. When they try to go to a character that has less stuff like that, dude, look, he fucking sucks. I mean, let's call a spade a spade. This is not impressive. Yeah, people are jacking him off because they don't want him to cry again, or some kind of, he's being promoted as something, but it's bad. It's not even good. I've used the example of Desk. I don't think Desk, Desk does a lot of shit right like that. Desk is a perfect example of someone who, execution-wise, I will give Desk credit execution-wise. Desk has done a lot of stuff executionally speaking that is impressive. But in terms of being a game changer, Desk gets credit for shit that's not even fucking remotely true. The guy gets credit for fucking Super Nintendo power codes that every kid knew growing up. It's not impressive. Did you see a CVS 2 combo video? Have you seen this guy is, Desk is so fucking, he's such a brain fuck to me. I actually get depressed almost. I actually even try to avoid watching his videos because I will see people talking about him like, wow, Desk is such a great example of someone that is just good enough that the community was able to promote him in a way that the vast majority of people think, okay, it's plausible. The guy has some skill, some thought process, but in terms of being a game changer, what does he do? It's not there. And I call him out specifically because if you are going to be considered the best, we are going to hold you to that standard. And there is no fucking way anyone will ever get me to believe that Desk is the fucking best ever. It's a fucking joke to me. Maybe execution-wise, but it's crazy. The stuff he gets credit for is mind-blowingly retarded how simple it is. It's not, when you're being considered the best, are you kidding me, right? When I saw this EX video got posted that I talked about, right? I saw in the comments, you saw people, they can't even keep up with the simple conversation, right? And it shows that, you know, people can't admit they're wrong. You know, before I get into that, I've said before, the whole reason that I'm able to know all these things about video games, how I'm able to look at a game and accurately predict how it's going to work, is because I know that I don't know anything when a game is brand new. Dragon Ball FighterZ is such a perfect example because the game was brand new and people are like, oh, well, if this person isn't doing it, it must not be possible. I'm like, dude, the game is brand new. Why don't we watch some footage? And they're like, oh, no. That can't be true, or else someone would have done it. And I'm like, well, did you even try? And people were like, no, we just don't think it's possible. And that's why I was like, you know what? This community is so insane. They think they are so smart when they haven't even, you know, experienced the game, really delved into it. That's why I watched the scrubs play. I watched the scrubs mashing on all the moves, so I knew the properties of the moves right when I got the game. Because I didn't have this false ego that I knew exactly how the game was going to work. How was I able to predict games like the old Guilty Gears, XR and stuff, AC, all this kind of stuff, even though Japan had that so much earlier? Because people had such a weird kind of like mind brain fart. They're like, well, if the Japanese aren't doing it, it must not work. And I'm like, but look at the properties. Have we actually seen them test it? Don't you think we should test this? And they're like, no, they aren't doing it, so it must not work. And guess what? What became the B&Bs in XR? The game was out for a year before it was in America, wasn't it? Clayton's wrong. And I'm like, I'm sure this is going to be right. Guess what? They became the B&Bs in XR. AC before that. All these games I keep predicting because I'm not so full of myself that I think, oh, this person said this must be exactly how this works. That's why I watch scrubs play sometimes, even so I can see the properties of moves. Do you know what I mean? And I saw, man, people just can't admit they're wrong. I saw this EX, and I just looked at a few comments just because it was so retarded. I saw some guy trying to argue that, oh, I'm talking about EX moves, and I forget exactly what he said. You can go look at it, but he was quoting me, but then he was saying it was a paraphrase or something like that. And he's like, well, I thought you meant this. He's like, motherfucker, you thought I said something? You assumed I said something? You can't even keep up with me. He was trying to say that I'm okay with Soul's EX Fafnir. Like, I literally am talking about that in Guilty Gear, EX moves are done better than in Street Fighter, but there are a lot of Mugen-y bad EX moves that are not good for the game. And I've specifically mentioned Soul how many times? And the guy has the audacity to then mention Soul as if I didn't mention that. Are you a fucking idiot? Didn't even watch the videos, obviously. But he thinks that he's smart. And then he tried to give some example. What about the twins? There were no EX moves in Street Fighter for the twins before. And I'm like, dude, the original Street Fighter 3 actually did not have EX moves. What you're trying to argue about EX moves and all these characters have never been played before without EX moves. Street Fighter 3, the original version of Street Fighter 3, EX moves did not even exist. You're arguing about me something that doesn't even exist. You're talking about a fake version of the game. Street Fighter 3 did not have EX moves in every version of the game. Are you a fucking idiot? Is he going to say, oh, well, I don't count the original Street Fighter 3? This is why you can't even have a simple... You can't even start the argument with me because you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You can't admit you're wrong. You have to be able to admit you're not as smart as you think you are to actually be smart, dude. You got to be able to take pieces of information, dude. You know, an example that I'll leave this with. I have a friend, one of my longest friends. Maybe, actually, probably the longest friend, right? And he works at a hospital. I'm actually not exactly sure what his exact, what is his exact fucking job? He's some kind of fucking scientist, published scientist, and now he does contract work. I know he told me a funny example that he basically considers himself like a medical mercenary because he's so good at his job, and so different hospitals fly him out to do different kind of scientific shit, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And he does well for himself. And even he told me, he's like, and this is why I want to leave you with this, right? Because we're talking about tech lords and all this kind of shit. He's like, just because you become a doctor does not mean you're a good doctor. Some people just do enough to get by. They did just enough to become a doctor. And when you think about that, you may be like, wow, man, if someone's a doctor, they must be impressive, right? That's more than I am. And he's like, some people, maybe this person just did enough to become a doctor. There's lots of bad doctors, so to speak, right? And he's worked at the hospital for how many years now? Actually, I don't know. For a fucking long time, right? Like I said, he does well for himself. He's helped me out before many times. But it just goes to show you. So even in the medical field, if we're thinking about something like a video game, just because someone thinks they are a tech lord or they are good or they're considered a tech lord, who are they better than? Their fucking grandma? Are you serious? They're a tech lord compared to their grandma. You gotta wonder about these false prophets who talk about different things that they've done, and are they even true? You know what I mean? You think you're why do you think you're smart? There's no, are you smarter than your grandma? Who are you comparing yourself to? Sure, you're smarter than your grandma. You're smarter than my grandma. My grandma's dead. I don't know. It's not very, very, very impressive. She's dead. She's dead. If you're going to hold yourself to a standard, you gotta, are you living up to it? Anyway, I just thought that because I saw that, God, that guy's an idiot. My God. Or I guess maybe he's an it. He doesn't identify as a person anymore. I guess maybe he's an it. I don't fucking know. Fucking ridiculous, dude. But yeah, I saw that and I'm like, that is such perfect proof that I've always told you guys about, that these characters are not that creative, dude. You are not going to get better at finding tech if you think playing these sort of setup characters truly makes you creative. Because look at this guy. The guy's considered a tech lord. Why is he considered a tech lord? I don't fucking know. He's a known fucking splicer, or he doesn't like the term splicer. Pre-recorder. Are you kidding? Pre-recorder, adding recordings to other things. Give me a break. And now that he's trying other characters, he's a joke. I think the beer shit is a joke too, but that's another story. You got to be able to look for things that aren't there. You know what I mean? You got to be able to admit that I don't know everything about this game and start to explore it on a deeper level. Right? Anyway, remember if you like the videos, like, subscribe, comment, share, support the channel if you want. Appreciate it. Thanks. The end.